Have you ever asked yourself how far someone could go to protect a family that isn't even theirs? Tonight, I want you to picture this. You're working quietly in a mansion, a servant in the background of a world that doesn't even notice you, when suddenly masked robbers break through the door, guns raised, demanding everything. The family screams, the children cry, and the wealthy man of the house, who commands billion-dollar deals, stands frozen, unsure of what to do. Everyone expects you, the maid, to hide in a corner to pray it will be over soon. But what if instead you step forward, fists clenched, risking your life to protect people who barely know your name? That's exactly what happened when Clara Hayes, a reserved maid working for a millionaire named William Cross, faced the darkest night of her life. What unfolded inside that mansion not only changed the course of her own story, but shattered the walls around a family who thought they knew everything about loyalty and courage. And when her hidden truth finally came out, it left her employer, one of the most unshakable men in business, completely undone, with tears running down his face. Clara Hayes had always been different from the other staff in William Cross's sprawling estate. While others gossiped or tried to blend their way into favor, Clara was silent, precise, and disciplined. She wore her uniform neatly pressed, hair tied into a bun, never a strand out of place. Her footsteps carried no noise, her presence almost invisible. To William, she was just another employee, no more significant than the polished marble floors he walked over. His wife, Margaret, tried now and then to engage her in small talk, but Clara always shifted the subject with polite nods. What nobody noticed was how the two children, Ella and Jacob, had grown attached to her. Ella, 8 years old with a heart full of fairy tales, often perched on the kitchen counter watching Clara prepare meals, while 5-year-old Jacob, restless and mischievous, shadowed her with questions that never seemed to end. For them, Clara wasn't invisible. She was safety, calmness, and quiet love wrapped in an unassuming figure. And yet, beneath that steady surface, Clara carried a secret so heavy it had shaped every step she took in that house. One winter evening, the family gathered in the living room. The chandelier glowed overhead, soft classical music filled the air, and the fireplace cast golden light across the walls. Clara dusted the shelves, blending into the background as she always did. But then William's security system gave off a sharp, unusual beep. He frowned, asking Margaret if she had invited anyone. She shook her head nervously, and before another word could pass, the front door exploded open. 3 masked men stormed inside, guns raised. Chaos erupted. Margaret screamed and clutched her children, while William instinctively shielded them, though his voice cracked with fear as he begged the intruders to stay calm. The robbers demanded money, jewels, and access to the safe. The air turned heavy with terror. It was in that frozen, horrifying moment that Clara's hands tightened, not around her duster, but around an unshakable decision. She would not let history repeat itself. She would not stand idle and watch innocence get destroyed again. Her body didn't tremble. Her eyes didn't waver. For the first time, William and his family saw the maid not as a shadow in the background, but as a wall between them and death itself. When one of the robbers aimed his gun at little Jacob, Clara's voice sliced through the room. "Stop!" she commanded, sharp and firm, her tone carrying the weight of someone who had seen battle before. The robbers laughed, mocking her for daring to stand in their way. But their laughter didn't last. Clara moved with precision, her body snapping into motion like a soldier on the front lines. In a blur, she struck one robber's wrist, sending his gun clattering across the marble floor. With a swift spin, she kicked another square into the coffee table, knocking the wind out of him. The third man fired, but Clara ducked low, swept his legs out from under him, and delivered a punch so strong it nearly tore his mask off. Margaret gasped, the children cried out in shock, and William, the man who had built an empire through ruthless control, stood paralyzed, unable to comprehend what he was witnessing. This wasn't a frightened maid improvising out of desperation. This was a fighter, trained and precise, dismantling armed men with the kind of skill no ordinary servant should possess. The robbers, furious now, scrambled to regroup. One pulled a knife and lunged, but Clara twisted his arm with a snap, disarming him and pinning him against the wall. Another tried to rise, only to be slammed back down with a calculated strike to the chest. Within minutes, all three men were groaning on the ground, their weapons scattered uselessly. Clara stood tall, her chest heaving with steady breaths, her fists raised in case another threat appeared. For a long, suffocating moment, the mansion was silent except for the crackling fire. The image was burned into William's mind, his quiet maid standing above defeated gunmen, protecting his family like a soldier returning from the battlefield. And then the sirens wailed. Police stormed the mansion, dragging the criminals away. Reporters swarmed outside, desperate to interview the mysterious woman who had taken down three armed intruders alone. But Clara refused to speak. She wasn't after recognition or glory. She just wanted the family safe. That night, as the children clung to her with wide eyes and tear-streaked cheeks, William finally asked the question burning inside him. "Clara, who are you?" For the first time since she had stepped foot in the Cross household, Clara lowered her guard. Her calm mask cracked, her hands trembling as she sat down, and in a hushed voice she revealed the truth. "I used to be a soldier," she whispered, her words thick with buried grief. "Special forces. I've fought in wars you've only read about, but after a bombing overseas, I lost my little boy. I couldn't carry that life anymore. I left it all behind. I wanted silence, peace. That's why I came here." Margaret covered her mouth in tears, her heart breaking for the woman she had once considered simply the help. Ella, too young to understand the full scope, hugged Clara tightly and whispered, "I wish I could have met your little boy." William's chest ached in a way he hadn't felt in years. For so long he had seen Clara as invisible, but now he saw her as someone carrying unbearable scars, someone who had chosen to keep protecting others even while healing from her own shattered past. The days that followed were unlike anything the household had ever known. William no longer looked at Clara as just an employee. He respected her, even admired her. He offered her a new position as head of household security, a role that would have come with recognition, wealth, and status. But Clara politely declined. She didn't want titles or attention. What she wanted was healing, a chance to breathe, to let her soul rest from years of battles. Yet the Cross family never let her fade back into invisibility. Jacob drew pictures of her dressed like a superhero, cape and all. Ella wrote a short story titled "The Brave Maid Who Saved Us." Margaret insisted Clara sit with them at dinners, no longer as staff but as family. And William, a man hardened by ambition and wealth, found himself quietly transformed by her courage and her pain. For the first time, he learned that true strength isn't built in boardrooms or bank accounts. It's born in sacrifice, in choosing to protect others when no one else dares to move. One evening, as the children played in the garden, William approached Clara. His voice was softer than it had ever been. "You once lost a family, Clara," he said, "but I hope you know you found another one here." Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time in years, a genuine smile spread across her face. The woman who had once lived in silence, carrying scars too deep for words, had finally stepped into the light. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who have carried the heaviest losses. But when they choose love over fear, they don't just save others. They heal themselves too. And that is what Clara Hayes did. She turned her pain into courage, and in doing so gave a broken family more than just protection. She gave them hope. If Clara's story touched your heart, make sure you hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs inspiration tonight, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories of resilience and courage. Because sometimes the quietest voices carry the loudest truths.